She believed she was beautiful, perfect in every way. Flawless skin, gorgeous hair, not a single thing wrong with her. She would examine herself very closely in the mirror, sometimes for hours on end. But when she began to stare for too long, she started seeing things that were unnoticed with a quick glance. She panicked. She no longer saw herself in the same way. She tried so hard to hide her imperfections, but every time she tried something new, she went a little bit crazier. She would do anything to feel perfect again, no matter how extreme. Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a tutorial on how I created this Pastel Goth Patchwork doll makeup for the 2019 NYX Face Awards. So for prep work, you are going to want to start off by pulling any hair back. Now take a cut up piece of fabric. You can cut up some old shirt or pillowcase for this, preferably a fabric with not a lot of stretch to it. And you're going to want to hold the fabric up to your face or neck or wherever you would like to place your patches. Then trace and cut out the shape you would like your patch to be. I'm also marking where my eye is since a button will be going in this spot. Be aware of where you are placing your patches if you're wearing this makeup look out for a while. Here I'm doing 3 with 1 going over my eye. Then I'm taking the biggest buttons I could find and sewing one right where my eye is going to be. You can also glue this on, but there will be some more sewing skills required a little later for this look. Here you can see me sewing on the button where my eye is going to be. Note what type of thread you are using for this. Here I'm using a cotton thread because it is thicker than your standard polyester thread. I wanted you to be able to see the stitching from a distance, so that is why I opted for cotton thread instead of polyester. I wanted the edges of my patches to fray. Fraying is what happens to the edges of fabric when the threads start to unravel. This usually occurs on old or worn clothing, so I am just taking my nail and dragging it along the edges to separate the fibers. Now let's get into the messy work. You are going to need a plate to fit the size of all of your patches. Then, using some liquid latex, pour a thin layer of latex on the base of the plate. Tilt the plate so that the latex covers the entire bottom of the plate. Try to make it as thin as possible so the edges of our prosthetic will be easier to cover later. I am just using my finger and spreading out the edges a bit more. You can also take a brush or your finger and spread out the latex if it is easier to create a thinner layer. Now just wait overnight or use a hairdryer until the latex has set. Okay, this was a bit weird for me. I did not expect the latex I was using was going to dry this clear. Anyways, now you are going to want to get some flour so we can peel this layer off without it ripping or sticking to anything else. Take a fluffy brush and dip it into the flour. Start peeling the edges of the latex and dusting the flour underneath it as you go. This can take a minute, so try not to rush the process too much. After peeling off the latex, place your patches on the latex and cut around them. Make sure there is about 1/4 of an inch around each side. Now we are going to take some foundation and apply it to one side of our latex pieces. It may appear streaky, but it is not going to show up against your skin when we apply the prosthetic. Here comes the tricky part. I'm going to be taking a very small needle and polyester thread because it goes through the small needle easier. Using a smaller needle will be beneficial for this step to avoid tearing the latex. So what I am doing here is sewing my fabric patches to my latex patches. For this one here, I am sewing an X pattern. We want this to appear as if the patch has been sewn into the skin. For the X pattern, I go up through the latex and fabric, crossing over to go down through the latex, coming up through the latex again, and crossing over once more. This process is repeated all the way around the patch. If you want an easier sewing pattern, here I am coming up through the latex and fabric, then going down through the latex, then coming up through both layers and down through the latex. Again, this process is repeated all the way around the patch. I chose to incorporate sewing into this look because I thought it gave the look a more authentic feel versus just drawing on the thread marks. Here I am just trimming the latex edges so they are even around all sides. Application time! I have my wig cap and costume on, so let's get into the makeup. First, I am applying a heavy foundation to make my skin appear porcelain and doll-like. Apply the foundation on the areas where your patches will not cover. After that, I am going in with my concealer to further conceal any dark spots or blemishes. I am also going over my lips with concealer because I'm going to shape them later. Use powder to set the makeup and to prevent creasing. Using my NYX Black Eye and Eyebrow Pencil, I am drawing in the brow that will not be covered. After that, I am going in with my NYX White Cream Eye Base on my lid all the way up to my eyebrow. Set the cream base with a white shadow to prevent creasing. I am using a white base to help the pastel shadows pop later. Colors! Start off with a wet brush using a light green shade just above the crease. This is used as a guide for when we go in with the deeper colors. It's a bit tricky to see here, but trust me, it's there. Okay, now I don't think most people would consider this a pastel color, but it looks cool. Take a dark green shade and apply it right where the pastel green shade is with a wet brush. Now fluff and blend it out with a fluffy brush. Now go in with a deep blue shade. It's going to go right above the dark green. Again, if you want the colors to really pop, apply the colors with a wet brush. Go back with that white cream shadow and reapply it to your lid. More colors! Take a pastel purple shade and apply it to the inner corner of your eye right against the nose and bring the shade down. Almost like you're contouring your nose, but with purple. Make sure to blend it in with the green and blue as well. I am now taking the NYX Black Eye Cream eyeliner and lining my waterline. We have some bright, now we need some dark. Shimmer, shimmer. Taking my finger because I'm almost out of clean brushes, apply a shimmery pink onto your lid right below the green. Okay, so now I'm basically applying a shimmery color on top of every pastel color I applied. Green, blue, purple, pink, add as much shimmer as you like. Now apply a peachy or intense hot pink to your under eye. We want to drag this color down towards your cheek. After that, apply a pink or red blush, then apply way more than you think is necessary. Using some liquid eyeliner, line your eyes with the nice looking cat eye. Here I am making mine a double-winged cat eye. Now here you can watch me struggle for 20 minutes trying to apply fake eyelashes. I put one on my top lash line and cut up the other into 3 pieces and glued them below my lower lash line. Onto the lips. Taking my NYX High Voltage lipstick, I create a shape that is a little bit smaller than my natural lip shape. Then I line my lips with that NYX black pencil to give a little ombre look. To top it off, I dab a tiny bit of shimmery pink eyeshadow in the center. Use concealer to fix any mistakes. Finally, on to the patches. Take an adhesive such as Spirit Gum, Prose Aid, or liquid latex to apply your patches. After your patches are stuck, use liquid latex to cover and hide the edges of your patches. It took me a couple layers to fully cover the edges so that it would blend into my skin. Here I'm just using a brush and my finger to smooth out the edges. Alright, now I am just applying the last patch over my eye using spirit gum and latex. I'm not going to worry about the edges too much on the side of my face because my wig is going to cover them anyways. After the latex has dried, use foundation or concealer to cover the edges. Then use powder to set the makeup. Now that there is latex on your face, you might start to get irritated because you can't see and it itches. But now we need the appearance of irritated skin. Apply a red eyeshadow around the stitch marks of your prosthetic and skin. Time for the gory stuff. Here I am taking some thick blood and applying it around the edges of my prosthetic using a palette knife. The more blood, the better. And once you have finished that, the look is complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked my entry for the 2019 NYX Face Awards. Let me know in the comments if you are going to try this look out for yourself. Here are just some of my favorite photos for this look. Like and subscribe if you feel so inclined to do so, and I will talk to you next time.